Hello, and welcome to another Win Daily Sports Show. My name is Michael Rasile. I got my man Ghost here with me, and we are giving you some nice, fun NBA overs and unders. We got five we love for the over. We got five we love for the under. We're going to be here helping people make some money, and we're going to be having a lot of fun with it. Ghost, man, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, bro. How about you?
It's a good day to be alive. As you already know, it's a good day to be alive. We have NBA games on. I think they're actually started right now. We're clicking the button at around 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. So I'm pretty confident those games have started. So we are going to be talking a little overs, a little unders for everybody and really get you excited. Let you know, give you some of that information. Our man Ghost here, he is so smart when it comes to NBA. I love having these. He loves having these conversations with me, but I love him just as much because I get educated and I learn every friggin' time, and we love it. So everybody out there watching right now, please make sure you go and smash that like button, as all the YouTubers like to say. I saw Jake Paul did something today. He's a YouTuber, right? If I'm not mistaken. So smash that like button, subscribe if you have not already. Show us a little bit of love and get into the chat. If you have any questions on team overs, unders, any NBA questions at all, shoot them to us. We are more than happy, more than welcome to answer some of those questions for you. So make sure first, follow me at Michael Rasile 1. Make sure to follow him at DFS_goes. Make sure to follow us at Win Daily Sports and come hang out in our little community, windailysports.com/chat, where we're talking overs, unders. We're talking DFS, fantasy sports, anything that you want to make money on in basketball. Ghost is here to do it. So, Ghost, let's get at it. A little bit of news. Tiny bit of news. Giannis Antetokounmpo might have signed a $228 million max contract, if I'm not mistaken, biggest contract value in NBA history. I know you were on the side of get the hell out of Milwaukee. I kind of was on that side as well, which, is understandable. Ghost, talk to me a little bit before we get into these overs, unders. How do you feel about the Giannis contract?
It's going to be a quick opt-out after year 4.
Oh, quick opt-out.
Yeah, that's going to be a very quick decision for him. Look, I could see this two ways. We could look at it, pretty much the way that some people are thinking, where, someone puts $220 million in front of you and you have to be absolutely crazy to turn it down. But again, when you're looking at the positive side of things, what better way than to, similar to what LeBron did out there in Cleveland, right? Obviously, Cleveland native. But again, when you're talking about Giannis building a legacy, no better way to do it than the team that drafted you. And, you're really putting your loyalty ahead of money and at least towards what the media is asking and stuff like that, right? So I respect the decision. He wanted to really build a foundation there and be the go-to guy. This way he stays out there in the East too, which everyone seems that they're dying to go out there to the East. Notice how James Harden's teams are all out there in the East, and everyone wants to go play in the East because it's there's no denying the fact that it's a much easier path to the finals out there. So, hey, he gets to dominate the conference yet again. Him and get to see him and KD hopefully go at it in a 7-game playoff series. That's going to be fun to watch. But hopefully KD gives us a full 72 healthy game season here. But looking forward to it. And Giannis is out there now, 4 years minimum. I think good for him. Honestly, 228 mil. Not only is that life-changing money, but just the fact that from a player standpoint, to be able to really cement your legacy with a team that drafted you, and you know what, you're not going out there taking 1-on-1s to really team up with anybody, and you need to form a super team in one of the big cities to be able to win a championship. If he gets it done, that's going to be one of the most respected championships in recent years.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. I'm totally cool. I would love to see we already saw the Lakers win. I'm a huge LeBron fan, so, kill me for that if you'd like, but I would love to see Giannis win. I think it would be so cool. Milwaukee gets a championship. I think that would be a lot of fun. Small city, little town, doing what they do. I think it would be great. And as you said, it would cement the hell out of his legacy. So definitely love that. We got Theo up in the chat already. Theo, we love you, buddy. We love the hell out of you. We love you, man. So keep the questions coming, everybody. We are here for you for probably, we always say a half hour, but I mean, let's be honest. We'll probably be here for a little longer than that because we love chatting so much. So good for Giannis. Now, the Bucks are not on our list of overs and unders. I actually think they have a pretty solid one, and considering how bad the East is, 49.5. So they would need to win 50 games and lose 20. And if I'm not mistaken, the team got better. So I think that part is important. and they were on pace to win like 70 games last year, which means they would have lost less than 20 games. So if anything, take the over on the Bucks. I'm going to stay away from it. Obviously, as we know, with Brooklyn now becoming real, which is kind of cool. Maybe there's a couple more losses in there, but I don't want to touch that one. So we're not really going to be talking too much about the Bucks over under tonight. Theo, who are we playing tonight? It's preseason, buddy. We're talking betting. We're talking over unders. We're going to have some fun for that. Don't worry. Ghost will help you when the time is right. So life's too short to bet the under, but we are going to have a couple unders for you. We'll start with some of the overs. Ghost's ultimate mortal super inhuman lock of the century, the millennium, whatever you want to call it, whatever this pandemic year has been, the super lock for it. Warriors over 36.5. Again, remember, 72 game season. So that means they have to win one more game than half of their games. And you think that's a super ultimate unbelievable lock of the year, even without Klay Thompson. Tell me why.
The disrespect to Steph Curry on this line is absolutely ridiculous. Like I knew that, you know, when Klay went down, even during the preseason game, they were during training camp, they were very quick to take that off the books. Very, very quick, because they knew people were going to slam the under because it was much higher than that. But when it reopened at 36.5, that to me is just the ultimate disrespect to Steph Curry. This guy on his own can win 40 games in the NBA, in the West. No problem. That to me is just, this is pure disrespect to what Steph Curry is as a player and just what he does for that franchise. This is what we were saying yesterday on yesterday's show. People forget just how good Steph Curry is.
Yep.
And this is the year where whether they get in as an 8 or 7 seed or whether they climb to a top 3, you know what, they're going to make waves. And it's not only Golden State that you don't want to face in a 7-game series. You do not want to face Steph Curry in a 7-game series. That's for sure.
God damn. Yeah. 36.5. When you do see it, it does look very low. Again, it's half of their games, as long as they win one more than half of their games. And one thing I will say, most books that you look at, I think this is important to talk about, they don't actually have the number of games on the lines. They actually have the winning percentage, because obviously with coronavirus, with COVID out there, their games will be canceled. That's just what we've seen. I mean, we've seen it in the NFL where they only have a 16-game schedule. You know, we're going to see it in the NBA. It's a little more difficult to obviously schedule everything with the NFL. And that's why they've had to keep everything a little bit closer to the vest, a little bit tighter on the schedule. But NBA games will get canceled. So while this is at 56.5, you can go to the books and you can get their winning percentage to be over, I think, 52.5, if I'm not mistaken. So you're really going to be betting on winning percentages this year, because it's going to be too difficult knowing that there will be games canceled at some point. That's just how it is. We're going to be giving you the games because it's a little easier to understand. So we're going to be going with that, but it's just something to pay attention to when you are going to your favorite book to play some of these bets. So we got a Western Conference team going over. Let's go to an under. We have the Celtics at 45.5. And when I brought that one up, you seem pretty confident that they're going on the under there. Kemba Walker's there, but he's hurt. They lose Gordon Hayward, so, you know, take that as what it is. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are incredible. Marcus Smart plays defense. After that, Tristan Thompson, I guess. Like, what 45 seems pretty high, and I like your understanding of the under. Tell me why, though.
Yeah. Well, firstly, you know, it's not a player prop when we're betting unders, because we do not live for the unders on player props. That's just that's just a fact. But
that's bad. That's bad form.
That's just we don't do that, right? So when we're talking about futures and you're looking at some of these long-term values, when we mention 45.5, keep in mind again, we're talking about the overall games that they need to win and not the percent. 45% of the games for Celtics would be fairly low out there. That would be a moral lock for the over in that case, but for the Celtics to win 46 games out there in the East, it's going to take a lot. Last season, they did win 48. The Brooklyn Nets were pretty much non-existent. Atlanta got a lot better. Even the Wizards got better with the addition of Russell Westbrook, right? So are the Wizards going to, you know, possibly make the playoffs? Yeah, they might squeak into an 8 seed, but it's more so just that they're going to be able to put a respectable offense out there on the floor. Davis Bertans is back. Thomas Bryant is one of my candidates for breakout player of the year as well. So they're going to have a formidable roster out there too. And the East is it going to be anywhere near as competitive as the West? Not even remotely close. But again, having teams in that, you know, 7 seed to, I can even go far down as 11 seed, teams like the Hawks, teams like the Wizards, even the Magic. Now that, you know, maybe Cole Anthony ends up doing some things out there for them. Maybe Markelle Fultz ends up having some some good games now that he's not worried about DJ Augustine playing behind him, anything like that. Evan Fournier's still reliable. Aaron Gordon's still out there, right? So these are things that I took into consideration when I was looking at Boston, and it's not like they have the firepower of a Kevin Durant. They don't have the firepower of a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I am a huge Jason Tatum fan. Mm-hmm. You are a huge Jason Tatum fan as a player. We saw what he did in the playoffs. We saw what he did out there in the bubble. But for them to win 46 games, that's one that I'm willing to take the under on.
It's just a lot of games, right? And I think we don't even know when Kemba Walker is supposed to be back. So one of the three main pieces of their offense won't be there until he's fully healthy. And then once he's fully healthy, obviously he has to integrate himself a little bit, which I think is pretty important. So it takes a minute for that to come around. So I do think the Celtics going under is definitely, it's a little bit easier of a bet. Now, of course, when we say a bet's easy, the joke's usually going to be on us. So take it what it is. And again, you're betting percentages. So let's remember that. But 45.5 wins, this seems the under is going to be a little easier there, unless Jason Tatum makes another gigantic leap and Jaylen Brown makes another gigantic leap and they become even better. I think 45.5 under seems very comfortable to me. Let's go back to the over. We'll stick with another team in the East. Your Raptors, 41.5. The Raptors are always disrespected. I actually was listening to a podcast today. Shout out Zach Lowe. Come on the pod. The Raptors have hit the over in every single year that Masai Ujiri has been their GM. Every single year they're over under whatever the number is. They have gone over that wins total every single year. Last year they weren't going to be that good. They lost Kawhi. They were the second seed in the East, the third seed in the East. They were one of the best three teams in the East. Always continuously disrespected. Ghost, you live in Canada. I guess that's important to the conversation. You live in Canada. Talk to me. Why are the Raptors winning more than 41.5 games?
I think when the books opened this one up, I feel like it was largely contributed by the loss of Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol. But if there's something I could kind of relate to that, it would be a famous statistic in baseball. It's called wins above replacement, or short for WAR, right? So when you're looking at what a player brings to the table and really how many wins is that player solely responsible for. If that was translated to the NBA, I wouldn't imagine Serge Ibaka or Marc Gasol, at least for the last season, being one of those crucial guys for the Raptors. You're looking at Kyle Lowry, you're looking at Fred VanVleet, you're looking at Pascal Siakam, wing players, Norman Powell, OG Anunoby as well. Chris Boucher is going to slide in fine there at the 5 for them, and some other guys as well. So for me, it's not like the East outside of Joel Embiid really has there's no Jokic, there's no it's not like they're gonna struggle in the paint, right? So for them, that was never really their game. It's not like Marc Gasol went out there and dropped 15 and 15 a night. Serge Ibaka, these guys were just primary defenders. So as long as they can make up for it on the defensive end of the basketball, which knowing my Raptors, it's always been a team system. It's never been one defensive anchor a la Rudy Gobert out in Utah, where if you want to get in the paint, you just have 7 foot, who knows what, Rudy Gobert with his arms up in your face, and you're trying to dunk a basketball over him, and he's standing there going, no, it's that ain't happening today, right? So whereas with Toronto, it's more so of a defensive system. They switch off a lot and stuff like that. So I think they're going to be just fine on the defensive end, and I feel like they're going to really push the pace. And when we're talking about a shortened season and guys possibly sitting out games, we said it out there in the bubble, and I highlighted it with guys like Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry. If you want guys that want to play 40 minutes a night on back-to-backs, no matter what the situation is, I'm not sure it gets much better than Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry, and you got two of them on the same team. So if Nick Nurse wants to tighten up the bench, which we know that he absolutely loves to do, he loves a nice 6 to 7 man rotation. That's where when team starts gets gassed, or they could take advantage of a Brooklyn Net team that has to sit out KD on a back-to-back, that possibly has Kyrie dealing with some nagging injuries like he does for the past who knows how many years, right? So those are games that I think that with an over-under of 41.5, that's where I would take the over on my Raptors. I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful for a team, for a team that won 53 games last season.
I love it. And a couple things about the Raptors that we would be remiss if we did not say. They're the Tampa Bay Raptors this year, which should be a lot of fun. So I'm sure their bank accounts are going to love it, because I'm sure taxes, no state income tax in Florida. So all those guys are going to be happy. And also Kyle Lowry is on an expiring contract. What do we always love, Ghost? Contract years. Kyle Lowry is going to go bananas. He wants to sign a 3-year, $100 million deal or whatever the hell they're going to give him. And obviously, rightfully so, he helped win him a championship. Pay that man as much money as he wants, but he's on an expiring contract. We know he's going to be going balls to the wall, doing his thing. Fred VanVleet just got paid, so he seems like the kind of guy that he wants to. He earned it, but now he wants to make everybody know that he earned it. So I think that backcourt's going to be incredible. It's going to be so much fun to watch. So gotta love it. The Tampa Bay Raptors. I saw a sweet Miami Vice version of their jersey where the Raptor was wearing like a Tommy Bahama shirt and some sunglasses, and it was in that Miami Vice Heat color. Oh, dude, I would buy that thing in a heartbeat. So
especially that the season's starting in December, it's nice to get away from the snow and whatnot all the way to Tampa. It's like one extreme to the other. So very nice.
Gotta love it. We do have Sidoro in the chat. Boston's going to win the title. Can you talk a bit about Boston? Well, you literally just missed it because we talked about Boston last team, so only 5 minutes ago. I don't know. Title might be tough. Ghost, do you think? Let's look up those odds. Actually, let's see. Boston's odds to win the title plus 1,300. Not super amount of value, but they're up there. They're top 5. How do you feel about Boston potentially winning the title this year?
That price is way too high. At least from a futures market perspective. For me, that's a long shot. I would like all things remain equal in the sense that all players are healthy and everyone's ready to go. I don't see them beating Brooklyn in a 7-game series. I don't see them beating Miami. Maybe they squeak by Milwaukee, but I don't know, with Drew Holiday there, they might be better equipped this year than they were last year. But I certainly don't see them beating Miami or Brooklyn, and they might not even beat my Raptors in a 7-game series. I got to mention that, even though we might be out for revenge from last from out there in the bubble. But I just don't see them having a path to get out of the East, let alone beat a Lakers team or a Clippers team or a Warriors team or a Nuggets or even the Trailblazers or the Mavs. Like again, when we're talking about that star power, they did gain some really, really valuable experience out there in the bubble, though. That's one thing. This was a very deep playoff run for youngsters. They're youngsters, and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum and all these guys, the veteran leadership that Kemba still has in that locker room, right? So they can make some waves. Anything could happen, but I just don't see it for them winning a title this year, especially at that price. If it was more so in the plus, maybe 2,500 range, that's where I would end up taking a dip. But being the 5th highest odds there, it's going to be a no-go for me.
I would wait a little bit. Let those odds drop a bit. I think that's what we need to do. If you really do believe in Boston that much, have a doubt. I think that's how you say your name. Hi. Well, hello back. Thanks for being here. We appreciate the heck out of you. Boston players all getting around 10 minutes. Thanks, Clayton. Appreciate the hell out of you, man. Good member of the Win Daily Sports family. So Harden only 20 minutes. We'll see.
You're talking about preseason.
I think so.
But talking about preseason DFS. I love it.
Hey, man, we appreciate it. That's why we're here. We do this because we love it. We do it for you guys. All right, let's go back to the unders. One that really caught our eye, the Bulls. 30.5 games. Winning under 30.5 games. So that means 30 games and under. Seems pretty high, honestly. I thought this was a pretty easy under to hit. Again, if you think it's easy, the joke's on you. Talk to me why you think the Bulls win less than 31 games this year.
Breakout season for Kobe White. Zach LaVine, underappreciated. Still Zach LaVine, very underappreciated star. I'm very concerned about the health of that front court. Very, very concerned. Like I don't see Wendell Carter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen both making it through a 72-game series, a 72-game season. Excuse me. This is something that they've struggled with throughout their entire young careers. I'll be being still a couple of years in, but I don't see them being healthy. And when you look at that bottom tier of the East, I mean, outside like not the complete bottom tier when we're talking about teams like the Cavs and the Pistons, like again, that the teams that at least have remote potential to finish between 7 and 11, the Bulls just didn't get that much better compared. The Wizards added Russell Westbrook. They re-signed Davis Bertans. The Hawks were by far the kings of the offseason with an honorable mention to the Lakers. Maybe you could flip them as a 1A, 1B kind of thing, right? So I really don't see them with that tier of teams where those were the winnable games for them, because it's going to take a lot for them to go out and beat Brooklyn. It's going to take a lot for them to go out and beat Philly, beat Miami, beat Milwaukee, beat Toronto. Like that top 6 in the East. they would need, obviously things are a bit out of our control. Is it going to be on a back-to-back, or is KD going to sit out one game? Right? Is Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid going to get traded? And like you don't know things like that, right? So I had to drop that in there, but
I know.
Like you don't know things like that, but those are not things that we consider when we're talking about futures bets, right? Like those are things that are way out of our control. So for me, a Chicago Bulls team that ends up winning 30 plus games when everybody around them in the same tier as them got better, except them, I think they're going to go through some growing pains. Very fun team to watch if Wendell Carter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen could stay healthy. I am very high on Kobe White coming into the season. Same thing like I am with Thomas Bryant. But again, I really don't see it there. With everybody else getting around them and having some solid additions, they lost a lot of guys.
Yeah, I think this number is just way too high. I honestly would be interested, probably wouldn't take it, but if this was a full 82 game schedule, 30 and 52 would not really be that far out of like an understanding for me for the Bulls. I don't think they're very good. As you said, they're injury prone. I think that's going to hurt them. You are much higher on Kobe White than I think like everybody else on planet Earth, to be totally honest with you. I'm sure there's other people out there, Ghost, but I think you're driving the bus. You're conducting that train right now, which is fine. He was fun to watch at UNC. Didn't really watch too much of him last year. He did do some good things for us when we did play him in DFS, so we appreciate him there. But I just think 30.5 is way too high. I don't think they added enough to say like, okay, this is, as you said, all the teams around them got much better. And what did they do? They really didn't do too much to make themselves better at all. And I think they still kind of just suck, unfortunately.
They're going to deeply regret losing Chris Dunn. That's a big loss for them.
Famous last words that nobody has ever said ever. But
that's
hey, you're the first one.
Like when we're talking about, where's LeBron going to sign? Where's KD going to sign? That is one of the most underappreciated signings of that offseason. Chris Dunn going to Atlanta. They're going to regret that one on defense.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna flip the script a little bit on you, because one of the teams that you think is gonna go under their win total is those Atlanta Hawks, 36.5. Now, you talked about how they won the offseason 1A, 1B with the Lakers. They added a lot. We know Trae Young is there. We know John Collins is there. We know that team is, for lack of a better term, I mean, stacked with names. Let's go with that. They're stacked with names. They got Clint Capella, if that honestly does anything for you. But you still think that they're going to win under 36.5, which means you think that their winning percentage at best is going to be 50%, most likely come in under 50%. They won the offseason. They added all this stuff. Trae Young takes one of those steps forward. We haven't seen that dude play basketball in, I don't know, feels like almost a year at this point. You really don't think they're going to win at least 50% of their games?
It's tough to see them jump. Like, again, I can't wait to watch this Atlanta Hawks team. We said it during the draft. We said it when they signed Danilo Gallinari, then they signed Rajon Rondo, then they signed Chris Dunn, and they signed Bogdan. They signed all these guys, right? So for me, it's more so, number one, I have no idea what Clint Capella is going to look like, let alone if he's actually going to even finish the season there. So that's one thing to keep in mind. He hasn't played basketball in who knows how long at this point.
Over a year, I think. And
then the other thing is that all these signings, it's one thing on paper. It's fun to use the Hawks in 2K now that they actually have a bench, and you could put John Collins at the 5 if you're playing. If someone ends up taking the Warriors on you, you can play John Collins at the 5, play a little small ball. Trae Young has unlimited range in 2K. It's all nice and fun to play. Is it actually going to translate to real success on the court? For them to basically double their win total, they won 20 games last season. That's it. It's asking them a lot. This is still a very young team. They still have some growing pains to go through. It's not like the Celtics where Jason Tatum has this experience now. Jaylen Brown has this experience. Marcus Smart has this experience. They have veteran presence. Like Trae Young is clearly the leader of that team, and their veteran presence. I mean, outside of Rajon Rondo, who is going to be a great mentor to Trae Young. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have that locker room presence that I feel will bring stability should they lose, X amount of games in a row in the same week. Like a lot of trials and tribulations going through and in the season with COVID and, possibly no fans at all, let alone limited amount of fans. It's asking them of a lot. I would love to see them go over, but for them to essentially double their win total because of a couple off-season, with less games because of a couple off-season signings, that's a little tough for me to see.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, they did add a bunch of names, but as you said, many on paper they look like fun, and 2K they look like fun. I want to get back to the chat for a second. Abdul, hi. Hey, what's up? Ask us a
What's up?
question. That's what we're here to do. Lakers in 4. I don't know. I think someone will take them to at least
Could
5.
we wait a week? Could we wait a
No,
week for that, please?
nope.
It's too
Sorry.
early for. Oh,
LeBron James.
We're already
Let's
on the
go. All
Lakers. We're
aboard,
already on
baby.
the
All
choo choo LeBron. Here we
aboard.
go.
Let's
It's
go.
it's
Give me
already
Brooklyn.
starting.
Give me LA. You get a New York City,
Oh
a
my
fake
gosh.
New York City. Tell someone from New York if you get Brooklyn. Oh man, that'd be gorgeous. Brooklyn, LA. You call it New York City versus LA. We all know that's not true, especially if you're up here from the Northeast. I'm 100% for it because I love it. But we do have a question from our good friend Sia Najad, my other co-host. I get to have a show at Sia tomorrow night. Make sure to subscribe to the Win Daily Sports page, because we're going to go over all the betting lines for the NFL. Sia makes a lot of money doing that, so we like that. What is the over-under on the Nets implosion? 2022, 2021. I think we'll put it at 2021.5. So that'll be 2 years of KD and Kyrie having to see each other enough. The Nets being the Nets, bringing in Steve Nash. Okay, I guess that doesn't make sense, but essentially what you said is, KD, who do you want to coach? And he said, I want Steve Nash to not tell me what to do. So respect Steve Nash for that. He is an MVP. He's a Hall of Famer. He's friggin' incredible. So you're not going to take it away from him, but zero coaching experience. Do you think the Nets are still the Nets in 2022? 2023, I'll give you that extra year. I think that's the year everyone can opt out of their 4-year contracts anyway. Do you think the Nets are the Nets in 2023?
So let me start by saying I'm the other co-host. Sia's the OG co-host. So love you,
Stop it.
Sia.
No.
Right. So I know you guys are the
Stop
OG
it, stop
pairing.
it,
So
stop
that's
it.
okay. I'll ride passenger. That's okay. I know my fate. That's okay.
We love you. We love you. Stop it.
But I'm gonna spin this question back on you just to have you spin it back on me.
Ooh.
When you're saying, will the Nets be the Nets, does that include the nucleus of the team, or are we strictly talking about KD and Kyrie both being in Brooklyn?
Good question.
Like, are we talking
Yeah.
about, are they shipping 27 first round picks to get a third star, or are we talking about, are Kyrie or KD gone? Because that to me is two
Kyrie
different
or
scenarios.
KD. Kyrie or KD. Because I think it's a foregone conclusion that all those other guys are going to get traded for whatever Kevin Durant wants at this
Or
point.
Joel Embiid.
Maybe.
Kyrie's got. If you're giving me that extra year, 2023, Kyrie's gone.
Kyrie's gone in 2023.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, so I think that leads right into Sia's next question. Is Kyrie the least likable player in all of sports, or just the NBA? I like that caveat. Is it all of sports or just the NBA? I'm curious.
All
Good
of
question.
sports, man. I have to
Sia.
think all of sports. Wow.
I think Tom Brady's more likable now since he left the Patriots, in my opinion, because now it's all just like, oh, we don't hate him as much because he's not on the Patriots.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that was a Beantown thing that he kind of got more hate than he deserved, but
definitely deserved, but more hate. Yeah,
I'm not a Tom Brady fan, that's for sure. So I don't know because I don't know, dude. I don't know if many people are gonna get this, but because I'm Canadian, I got to say Brad Marchand.
Nobody gets it.
Of the Boston Bruins, he's got to be high up there. No one's gonna get that, but if you're out there and you're listening, you watch hockey, Brad Marchand's got to be high up there. But from a media perspective, I don't know if anyone comes close to Kyrie with the amount of disrespect that he just threw in the past week there. That's just
yep.
Look, you don't want to talk to the media. That's fine.
That's fine.
You know, and I'm sure.
Well, actually, wait. You don't want to talk to the media? Come talk to us over here on the HNB channel with TPJ and Ashley Moss and Pavi and Daniel and you and myself. Come talk to us. We're better than media.
Let's go. So, what I'm thinking is that I'm sure, to a much lesser extent, I'm sure people are thinking something along the lines of what Kyrie was saying. So not in reference to his, calling people pawns and what, like that to me was way too far. Like not even close to like just stepping on the line. That was way too far. But more so in the fact that I'm sure there's more athletes than just Kyrie Irving on planet Earth that think, hey, I get played to play X sport. I'm not here to talk to media.
100%.
Right. So they just don't express it because they know how to act in public. But I don't really know how. I don't really know how to act like adults. They know how to be mature about things, right? So, but that's the way that I see it. I'm sure there are other guys, possibly even in that same locker room, where they're like, "Hey, I don't get paid to talk to X, Y, and Z after practice, or you know what I mean. So from that aspect, I'm sure there are other players across all sports that kind of share that same point of view. But just the line that he went to, man, he's got to be the least likable guy in media right now in professional sports.
And that's the thing, right? And they all know, like, the media controls the narrative, whether you like it or not. In the NBA, the players have all ownership of everything, but the media controls the narrative. So if you're going to be disrespectful to the media, what do you like? Oh, they're just going to like take it and be like, oh, this guy's awesome. No, of course not. You're going to have Stephen A. Smith and these dumbasses on TV scream about how stupid Kyrie's being, or, oh, he's misunderstood. He's this, he's that. Do whatever you want, dude. I couldn't care less. He's a Duke Blue Devil, so I kind of like him a little bit. It's been a while since I had to really like care about him, though. Dude, just play the game. We all know it's a friggin' game. Just play the game. Just give shitty answers, laugh like Kawhi, and nobody will care. And you'll just kind of go off into the abyss and no one will give a shit. And that's it. That's like Kevin Durant a couple years ago. He couldn't get out of his own way. And now he's kind of just like super apathetic. And everyone's just like, okay, whatever. We don't really care anymore. Yeah, you had a burner account.
Yeah,
you admitted to having a burner account. We're all just like, whatever. Like, cool. It's not a big deal. But if you keep doing it to yourself, it's not surprising that it's going to keep happening because the media is going to keep bringing it up. So that's on him, man. That's really all I can say. Is he misunderstood? Is he this? Is he that? I know Ashley, if I'm not mistaken, Ashley Moss really likes him. I'm sure he's a great dude, and I'm sure he is misunderstood. And I think he is much smarter than people give him credit for. Just play the game then. Just play the game and everyone will shut the hell up and it won't matter anymore. That's just my opinion, I guess. I don't know, Ghost. All right, let's get back to some over-unders, though. That was fun. Chat. Got more questions. Give us more questions. We're here to have some fun. Let's take some overs. We have only Western Conference teams. So we'll talk about the three of these together. We have the Suns at 38.5. We have the Blazers at 41.5 and the Mavs at 42.5. All of these are games that they will win over. So the Blazers, they need to win at least 42. The Suns at least 39. The Mavs at least 43. Difficult to see all of those happening when you have that many teams bunched up. And I think there's actually some more teams bunched up in that area that we don't like as much, but it's kind of difficult to take those specific numbers. Why do you like the over on all three of these teams? Because that's going to be difficult to hit on all of them.
So this is more so strictly a betting strategy. Like, are all three going to happen? I would say there's a very, very strong chance that the answer is no there. But when we're talking about hedging our bets, that not only means, your same game parlays, you ended up betting Browns plus 3.5 like me, and then you ended up losing because of that safety at the end, right? So that was a fun ride yesterday, right? All smiles, of course, after that safety. That was a ton of fun, right? But when we're talking about hedging bets, it's not only in that same night, right? So you could also hedge futures bets as well. Mm-hmm. And when you're getting prices on these guys, especially the three teams that we've been mentioning, I really do think that 2 out of these 3 teams end up going over on these totals. Especially, I'm leaning hard on the Trailblazers and the Mavs right now. So the Mavs are an interesting one because Kristaps is going to be out for a certain amount of time for the beginning of the season. But Luka Doncic is also the favorite to win MVP. He's Luka Doncic. He's priced above Giannis Antetokounmpo to win MVP. Mm-hmm. So that goes to show you when we're always talking about, Vegas gets things right. And that's exactly what they do because that's the business that they're in. And they're not there to just, give out money. It's not a charity. Vegas is not a charity. Or else we would all be spending thousands and thousands at the book. That's not the way it works. So for them to be pricing Luka at higher than Giannis Antetokounmpo for MVP, that it is virtually impossible for a team, for a team's player to win MVP without making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like that. Like it's hard enough as it is to win it. As like if your team barely squeaks in, that's where you're like, does he even deserve MVP at that point? Like if he was really MVP, he would have just gotten it on his own. But like that's the way the NBA is. So for them, like I'm kind of looking at the correlation between those two bets in the sense that the Mavs are due to end up making some waves in the West there, and especially with the Warriors losing Clay, and now it's just I don't want to say just, but it's mostly formidable duos in the West. There's no like there's no Harden, KD, Westbrook, and OKC like back when it was like that, right? So that's where I think Luka can really hold his own, and I do think that not only does 42 games end up happening over, but it does get them a playoff seed there.
I love it. And I know you've been hard on the Suns ever since. I mean, you loved Devin Booker beforehand. And that shot that he hit over Kawhi or Paul George, he got the Celine Dion treatment on Instagram. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm always here for it. Then obviously Chris Paul gets traded to the Suns. So some good things happen. And you and I spoke about it when that trade went down. You said it's going to be a big year for Devin Booker. So you think the Suns over 38.5 wins. I mean, Chris Paul did it last year with the Thunder. I don't have their win total in front of me, but I can almost guarantee it went over. Whatever that number was, I would put money right now that they hit the over, even in that COVID shortened season. You think Chris Paul does it again?
Yes.
Deal. All right.
The reason why is because when we're talking about that OKC team, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, and it's actually funny because we hadn't spoken about this when I mentioned the Suns. So it's nice that we're always on the same page in that sense, where you already know where I'm going with this. But if you look at that OKC team, Chris Paul had a young two guard in SGA, and he had a center with. I'll still give Steven Adams with potential, because Steven Adams, if Steven Adams got 36 minutes a night, he'd be a force out there. But it's still he's still a reputable guy in the sense that he can give you solid minutes and he could contribute. Swap SGA for Devin Booker.
Not bad. Not a bad swap. Let's start there. Not a bad swap.
And swap Steven Adams for DeAndre Ayton.
Well, he has to stay on the court. He has to stay on the court, though.
I'm going to channel my Stephen A. Smith here. I'm going to channel my Stephen A. Smith. Stay off the weed. Do not, enough with the PEDs and this and that. I want to see 72 games of DeAndre Ayton. I want to see that. I'm here for it. I want a nice DeAndre Ayton breakout campaign with Devin Booker doing his thing. I want to see the Suns make the playoffs.
I love it. I think it's great. I love the analogy too. Chris Paul, he is smart. We've already seen clips of him online. I think he was teaching their first round draft pick. I don't even remember who it was. They were teaching him and everyone was just like, oh my God, Chris Paul's the greatest. It's like, well, the dude is the president of the Players Association for a reason. Everyone loves him.
He's still the point guard. He's still the point guard.
He's incredible. And I think we've seen what happened, in Houston for what happened. We kind of remember what happened in LA with the Clippers, but even when this dude was with the Charlotte Hornets, what he was doing was incredible. He is so good. Him and Kobe, RIP. How many championships? We don't have to talk about it, but how many goddamn championships would they have won? I also think I love the analogy again, but it just hurts to know that what if Luka Doncic and Devin Booker were on the same team?
Oh boy.
What if they decided, we don't actually need to take a center in DeAndre Ayton. What if we just took the best player in the draft? We don't need to get there. That's just something that sometimes you just think about and you realize that's like my dream roster because of two of my favorite players too. So wow. I think it would have worked too, right? It would have worked. I think it would have been incredible. Or
Devin Booker would, in that case, in that offseason, if I was Devin Booker, I'm literally training the way Steph and Clay train. I am literally just becoming a sharpshooter, because if you have Luka as your primary ball handler and you get Devin Booker playing off ball like that, wow.
And I think that's the same draft, right? It went DeAndre Ayton 1, Marvin Bagley 2 to the Sacramento Kings.
Correct.
What if De'Aaron Fox and Luka Doncic were on the same team?
Oh my God.
It might not work as well because Fox needs the ball a little bit more than Devin
He's
Booker
just
does.
so fast.
But that's what I mean.
Maybe a handful of guys that can keep up with this guy. He's so fast.
Friggin' fast. That would be it would be electric. And that's such an overused word in sports media. That's why I think it's funny to use it sometimes. But how much fun would De'Aaron Fox and Luka Doncic on the same team? And it honestly kind of should have happened. I don't even think that's a question. Marvin Bagley, again, big Duke guy. He's not really an NBA. He's going to be good, I think. I don't think obviously Luka Doncic is already top 5 player. What if him and De'Aaron Fox were on the same team? How friggin' cool would the Sacramento Kings be? Shout out Vlade Divac for always doing the wrong thing. That's why we love you, Vlade. Come on the pod.
That would be nuts.
Come on.
That would be. I could already see Luka doing his slower version of James Harden step back, and then you have De'Aaron Fox going 1,000 miles a minute, just pushing the pace. That'd be fun.
So much fun.
That'd
Man,
be fun to watch.
shit. Gotta love it. You gotta love the NBA draft. And it's
You
also
love to see it.
yeah, you love to see it. It's also funny how quickly everyone realized that wait a second, Luka is the best person in this draft. And not only is the best player in the draft, he is significantly better than everyone else. It was fun to see happen, especially in like first 10 games of everyone's career. They're like, ah, shit, we messed up, guys. We really fucked this one up. We should have just drafted him. That sucks. Could have been fun. The Suns, the Kings, obviously, the Hawks, I'm sure they would have appreciated a little bit more. Who was no, Luka went 3, right? The Hawks, or no, how did
the Hawks and the Mavs actually ended up switching their picks.
I remember, right? So it was the Hawks drafted Luka.
Hawks drafted Luka and they traded him for Trae Young.
For Trae Young, but they were at 5 though. Was right? Who's 4 in that draft? I don't think it matters, but I'm just kind of curious. But goddamn,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. I don't know how we got on this tangent. Well, I do know. I do know how we got there, but damn.
Over on the Mavs.
Wait. All right. Chris Paul, Luka Doncic, Devin Booker.
82-0.
82-0 in a 72 game season, people.
Yeah,
82 and fucking 0 in a 72 game season. I love it.
That good.
I love it. All right, so those are our overs.
Small mention. When we're talking about Portland, do not underestimate the effect that Jusuf Nurkic is going to have on a season like this. So when you get a full 72 game season of Dame, who is on a mission every single night, every single year, you got CJ McCollum out there, who is, they make one of the strongest backcourt pairings in the entire league. And now you get a full 72 games with Jusuf Nurkic. They're going to make some waves in the West.
It's going to be fun. CJ McCollum played with like a broken back for like a little while in the bubble. Dude is an animal. He's also really likes the wine, the sheesh. So that's always fun too. Do your thing, man. All right, let's go back to some of these unders. I think the overs are going to be a lot of fun. As you said, there's those 3 right there: Blazers, Suns, Mavs. Real hard that all of them go over, but if you put a couple bucks on each of them, good shot that at least 2 of them go over, which means you end up winning some money, which is fun. Couple more unders. One that I'm not going to say it's controversial, but it's definitely interesting. The Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans, 36.5, meaning they just have to be 1 win better than 500. Again, 72 game season, 36 divided by 2 times 2, whatever the math is, it works out, I promise. 36.5 is their over under. You get Zion, hopefully expected for a full season and with proper conditioning, I guess is a good way to say it. Brandon Ingram coming off most improved player of the year. So there's my 2 Duke boys. JJ Redick still there, 3rd Duke boy, reigning 3s. He's actually my favorite college basketball player of all time. So that was a lot of fun. Got to watch JJ. So 3 Dukies. They got rid of a couple others, but whatever. The Jazilla, he's been bad for a while. I always hoped for him, man. I had the most hope for him. It just never worked out. They get rid of Drew Holiday. They get 1 million picks and some players back, but whatever. Is there anything I'm missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, Stan Van Gundy. They have a coach now. Alvin Gentry. Sorry. You kind of sucked. It's not you. It's me, I guess. But they get Stan Van.
That's what happens when you're on the Warriors coaching staff.
It doesn't work. So you get Stan Van. He's coming in. Should be fun. Talk to me. Why do you think they're not going to win 50% of their games this year?
This is the Zion effect. That's why this total is so high.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's why it's this high, and I'm not buying it. This is a young team. Obviously, we're not betting futures based on whether they're going to get into COVID trouble or anything like that.
That's true, yeah.
But this is a very inexperienced locker room. Very inexperienced. Drew Holiday, losing Drew Holiday was losing the heart of that franchise. I understand that Zion was there to basically take over what AD was, and that's fine. I don't think he's going to be it this year. I mean, he's going to be a lesser version of it. It's tough to compare a guy to Anthony Davis. I mean, that's not really fair for the young man's career either. But hey, that's the pressure that comes with going number 1 to the very same city that AD got drafted to, right? So I think Brandon Ingram is already developing into a star. You saw what he did last season, and we were high on him last season. That paid off great for our season-long leagues, for our DFS leagues. That was always fun rostering Brandon Ingram, and I was there for it. Kind of benefited more so from the fact that Zion was in and out of the lineup, and then he was dealing with, some conditioning issues and whatnot. We're hearing things where he's looking like the later version of himself, where Zion is a lot lighter on the court and stuff like that. So we're hoping that he's going to be the athletic version of himself and not just the big bully in the paint. So that's going to be fun to watch. But this is a very, very inexperienced team, and there's outside of JJ Redick, there's no experience in that locker room. It's tough for me to, Lakers are better, Clippers are better, Nuggets are better, Warriors are better, the Mavs are better,
Suns are better,
Portland's better, Phoenix is better, Houston, if James Harden stays, definitely better. There's a lot of teams that are better than them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And I could see them losing games to teams like Sacramento. Like that, they have that star power in De'Aaron Fox where he can solely win a game against a team like New Orleans. Because De'Aaron Fox doesn't have to go out and beat LeBron and AD. He doesn't have to go out and beat Kawhi and Paul George. He doesn't have to go out and beat Ball and Jokic. And I could go on and on down the list that the teams I just named. He has to go out and beat Brandon Ingram, Zion. I'll throw Zoe a bone and end up throwing Zoe in there. Their own little big three that they got going on there. Like that to me is a game that somebody like De'Aaron Fox could win. And we're talking about, an 11, 12, 13 seeded Sacramento team. This is a game that Cat could beat them. Karl Anthony Towns could beat them. D'Angelo Russell could beat them. Like these are games where when we're talking about these teams that are in that, like not percentage, we're talking about total games again. We're talking in that 50% range. We're talking 34.5 to maybe I'll push it as high as 36.5. These are teams that you have to look at their 50-50 games and say, am I confident that they win more than 50% of those games?
Mm-hmm.
And the Pelicans are not a team that I think can win 50% or more of those games. Because if you told me, if I told you right now, would you anticipate the Nuggets beating the Pelicans? You'd probably look at me and say, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
The spread's probably going to be like 9.5, something absurd. Lakers are beating them. Clippers are beating them. Portland, Dallas. I'll even throw the Suns in there. Warriors are certainly beating them. We're talking about De'Aaron Fox possibly beating them. You think Steph Curry's not going to beat them? Who's going to guard Steph Curry? Zoe? Come on now. So the guy's going to be dropping 50 by the end of the third. So, like, these are teams where they're going to have to win a ton of these 50-50 games. And you're looking at these other teams. It's like you could make the argument, are they better than the T-Wolves? I would take the Pelicans over the T-Wolves. But if you're telling me one game, one night,
exactly.
Like if you're talking like let's say we translate it into like a playoff example, best of one, could the T-Wolves beat the Pelicans? Yes, because Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell can beat Zoe, Brandon Ingram, and Zion. This is a very inexperienced team. So that for me, I'm like with everything that every team is going to have to go through during this season, this is a team that I'm willing to take the under on because number one, they don't have the experience. And with those 50-50 games, that's where I end up looking at teams who can win those 50-50 games, similar to what we're talking about with the Bulls. I just don't see it for the Pelicans.
I think one thing, with that inexperience and being young, I think when we're in the end of February, it's okay. It's not bad weather down in New Orleans, but let's say you're going up to Memphis. Let's say
Memphis is also better than them.
Yeah. Well, their win total might not say it, but I see where you're coming from. As you said, it's a science tech. But okay, maybe you're traveling to cold Detroit. Maybe you have to go play an Eastern Conference game. Are you really going to get up for that game on February 19th? It's just one of those things. Like once you're out of it, I don't think the youth is going to really get you back in it. Now, we saw what happened when Zion came back to the court. They were pummeling people, and it was awesome because that was Zion coming back. That was finally his coming out party. We had a blast with it. The most watched NBA game was the Lakers Pelicans. You know why? Because it was LeBron versus Zion, and everyone was fucking here for it. But it's not going to happen this year because we already saw it. And once you're a couple months into the season and once they're out of the race, I don't really see them getting up for those games in Detroit. I don't see them getting up for those games in Utah. I think they're just going to get rolled over, unfortunately, because of that youth inexperience. And it's just one of those things. And I just love how the Warriors and the Pelicans have the exact same team total, and Ghost is on completely different sides of it. And that is how you make money, people. That is how you make money. You listen to Ghost.
I didn't even realize that you just pointed out. You're telling me same team total, Warriors and Steph Curry.
Correct.
If we get off the show and the line hasn't moved, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Everybody, go take that.
I'm gonna
Take
be disappointed.
Listen to
That
me,
goes
man.
you too, TPJ. That you too, TPJ. I'm gonna be disappointed.
Take them. Listen to them.
Line better be moving by the time we get off the show.
Yeah, I think TPJ can. I think he's got the inside scoop. I think he can make those line moves too. All right, one last team coming up to it. Last team of the 10 of our 5 overs, 5 unders, ones we really love. Timberwolves, 28.5 wins. Ghost likes the under. The Timberwolves suck. They were literally one of the 4 worst teams. That's why they had the best odds to win. Karl-Anthony Towns should be healthy. D'Angelo Russell shouldn't be able to play defense still. I don't really see that changing. And Anthony Edwards is 19, so I really don't know how much he's going to be contributing. Ricky Rubio? That's cool. So 28.5, you really take hammering the under on that one?
Who's playing defense on this team?
I didn't convince you enough. Oh, I'm sorry, Gus.
Who is playing? Like, someone's got to spell it out for me. Who is playing defense on this team? You're going up against the Lakers. Who's playing defense?
I mean, technically,
you're going up against the Clippers.
Technically, there will be 5 people playing defense.
D'Angelo Russell doesn't even play defense.
That's true.
He doesn't even run back on defense. Like he lightly jogs. Doesn't even run back on D.
120 million over 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out D'Angelo Russell. What's up?
I love D'Lo because I'm here for the overs. I'm here for the overs. I like stats. D'Lo don't play defense.
He doesn't need to play defense.
Who plays defense on this team? Who's going to play defense?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm excited to take the over in almost all of these games. It's going to be
that is the answer. And the scariest part is that they play at a top 5 pace in the NBA.
Fuck yeah.
So they're going to turn the ball over at such an absurd rate. Like, who is playing defense on this team? Who is not turning over the ball? D'Angelo might get a triple-double every night if you count 10 turnovers. I can't express this enough. I don't know who's playing defense on this team. They do not have a defensive player on this team.
It's just crazy, right? Like, they're offensively they'll be fun to watch. Like, we can't deny that. As you said, they're going to be playing fast paced. They have Karl-Anthony Towns. They have Ricky Rubio. They have D'Angelo Russell. They're going to be throwing the ball around.
Atlanta is a game that's going to be prime time.
Oh my God, dude. Give me that game. Over under 295. I'm still going to take the fucking over on that one.
I'm still taking the over.
So much fun. But yeah, goddamn, they just don't. Roster construction, man. There is zero defense, and it's going to be hard. And it's just, they're going to be in the same spot again next year. They're paying a boatload of money to 2 guys, not going to win any games. I don't understand whose idea this was. And their first round pick next year went to the Warriors in that Andrew Wiggins trade. So now the Warriors potentially get another, I think it's top 3 protected. So they can have another top 5 pick next year, add to James Wiseman, add on even. It's insane. It is absolutely insane to me.
To me, it's like, and then on top of that, we're talking again, when you're betting on futures, you can't be thinking about things like COVID or, this guy's going to get injured, so let me take the under. This guy's going to get traded, so let me take them. Like, you have to look at what it is at face value, right? So, and to me, even though you can consider things like that, if you are one of those people, I don't know if it gets much I don't even know if it's safer is the word, because it's kind of like an oxymoron, but I don't know if it gets much safer banking on either Karl-Anthony Towns or D'Angelo Russell missing games.
Yeah.
Like, both of them throughout their young careers, again, have missed so many games. And now we're going into a season where we're literally in the midst of a global pandemic, and there's like non-physical injuries to think about on top of that. And there's like there's all these things, like, I don't know, there's a bunch of factors with this team, but if we're ignoring all that stuff, we're talking strictly on-court product. I don't see how these guys stop any team in the West. Like they do not have a single defensive player on their team. I think the only team that they could possibly slow down might be the Spurs, just because of how boring their offense is.
Yeah.
Just because of literally how boring their offense is. That's where they could win a game like that, because they're going to push the pace so much to the point that the Spurs are going to be out of their element. But who again, we're talking about these 50-50 games for these for these teams with low win totals. They have to be able to win those 50-50 games. They could beat the Pelicans. That's a team that they could beat. But you're going to push the pace against De'Aaron Fox? He's going to push the pace on you.
The pace against you. Damn it, you beat me to it.
He pushes the pace on you. You're going to push the pace on Chris Paul. No, nobody messes with Chris Paul. Chris Paul does whatever Chris Paul wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not, you're going to have trouble against the Suns. You're going to have trouble against all these teams that you're going to have trouble against Portland. Sure, you're going to have trouble against Luka. Like, how D'Angelo Russell's supposed to guard Luka? On what planet? Like, these are things that I don't see them winning these 50-50 games. D'Angelo Russell's going to guard Ja?
No. Stop it. Don't.
Stop with that. Who's guarding who in these games other than the Spurs? And I'll give them a win against the Pelicans just because the Pelicans are just as big of a mess as they are. And it's like, which stars will come out more that night? Like, can Kat and D'Lo outperform Zion and Brandon Ingram? But it's like who are they stopping on defense? Like, unless they're playing, they need 20 wins. Remind me of the total again.
28.5.
Like, unless they're playing 27 games against the Cavs, I don't see. I don't. And even then, Colin Sexton and Isaac Okoro will win a couple games against you because of how bad your defense is. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is another thing where it's tougher for them being in the West, but it would shock me to not see them finish last, if not dead last, in the West this year.
Yeah, I honestly
it would really shock me because every team around them in that. Like, if I want to even put them in that group that could contend for a 7 to 12 seed, they're not there. Portland's better.
Just better. That point. Portland's way above them. Just to your point. So the Timberwolves have the third lowest over/under total in the West. They're at 28.5. The Kings are at 27.5, and the Oklahoma City Thunder at 22.5. And I'm confident the Thunder go over, because that's just what they do. Now, obviously, Chris Paul gone, Steven Adams gone, still some stuff going on there. I feel like they'd hit the over on that one. I completely agree with you. I would not be surprised in the least if the Timberwolves finished dead last in the Western Conference. Something to think about. And that is our top 5 favorite overs and unders season totals for the NBA season. 72 games, little weird, little wonky, and you're going to be betting. Remember, when you go to your book, you're most likely going to be betting on winning percentage. So do a little bit of the math. Make sure all of it makes sense, because we're not here to lose your money. We're here to make you money at Win Daily.
And don't panic when you see Bucks at 70. It's not 70 wins.
Yeah.
It's 70%. So you got to think about it both ways.
Could the Bucks win 70 out of 72 games, though? The people are asking. One last thing. We didn't talk about it yesterday when we did the MVP show, and you brought it up, and I was like, John Morant, that guy was really, really good last year. Rookie of the year. What are his odds to win MVP? Plus 15,000 for John Morant to win the MVP. Give me 2 seconds on that.
That's really tough.
Because again, remember, you have to be really, really good to win. Your team has to be good. No, doesn't matter how good you are. Your team has to be good, or you have to just put up like a 35, 10, and 15 stat line where you play incredible defense and it's literally just everyone around you is bad. But you're not going to do that. Plus 15,000, John Morant.
When we're talking about long shots over plus 10,000, like we were talking about Donovan Mitchell at plus 8,000, Maul at plus 10,000 already. We were saying those were stretches, right? This is when we're getting into value where, you put 10, $20 and that's something that hits and you're like, wow, that was fun. If Memphis makes the playoffs, forget about stats for a second. Just when we're talking about, you have to be the best player on a playoff team. If Jacques carries Memphis to the playoffs, it's going to be hard to ignore that.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard
to ignore. I don't think he puts up the stats to be able to get there. But if he leads them to the playoffs, at that point, you're only banking on him stat-wise, which is something that I like.
Amen.
Because when you're looking at guys that are usually plus 15,000, these guys are on terrible basketball teams.
Yes.
And now not only are you hoping that they're dropping 30 plus a night, but you're hoping that their team somehow, some way finds a way to make the playoffs. Whereas Memphis has a legit shot this weekend, especially with the play-in round.
Yeah, with the play-in round especially.
Yeah.
They are. Grizzlies team total is at 30.5 currently, which would slot them in as 11th in the West, with the Rockets at 34.5 ahead of them, with the assumption that James Harden will not be there. And then above them are the Pelicans and the Warriors. So
that one's really interesting. I'm curious to see what made them put the Rockets that low, let alone on the book, because there's no indication right now. Like, yes, there's a strong chance that James Harden gets traded, but there's no indication saying a deal is imminent. Like, it's not like, hey, the Sixers have offered this and all we're missing is like a pick swap. Like,
yeah,
like no team has come remotely close to Houston's outrageous demands. So
unless
you know what's happening.
I don't know. We'll find it. We'll clip it for everybody. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. Ghost Man, where can everyone find you on the internet in case they have more questions about the NBA and how to make some money on it?
At DFS_Ghost over on Twitter. And of course, with the Win Daily Sports team in our Discord channel, make sure you come and join.
Yes, our Discord channel. You can go to windailysports.com/chat. You get 7 free days in our instant messenger chat where we talk about sports and help you win money. Appreciate you. See ya. You can find me at Michael Rasile1. You can find us at Win Daily Sports. You're going to find us here a lot on the HNB Media YouTube page, because we're going to be giving you essentially daily content around baseball, around basketball betting, around fantasy, around DFS, all of it. Headlines, of course, because that's the most fun part about the NBA. So we're going to be giving all of it to you. You're going to be seeing a lot of us over here on HNB. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We appreciate each and every one of you a lot. For Ghostman, for myself, for the Win Daily Sports family, for everybody here at HNB Media, we hope you make it a very profitable 2020 NBA season. Oh, 2021 NBA season. Well, whatever. Thanks, everybody.